been at BOLDMERE St Michael's this evening with Daz Hale, Tom Marlow and Garry Thompson at the Football Forum for BBC WM that will be aired on Monday, and I managed to grab a quick chat with Daz Hale, Tom and Garry Thompson, which I'm going to play now, just to see how they're all feeling ahead of the new season. So, yes, right said Fred, haven't reformed. It is me and Daz Hale at the Villa event at BOLDMERE St Michael's, and I just thought I'd quickly grab him ahead of the new season to have his thoughts on how things are going currently at the Villa. What are you thinking so far, Daz? Bit of a quiet summer so far.
It's very quiet, isn't it? But as we speak, the new season doesn't get underway for about another 5.5 weeks or so for the Premier League, and I think a few deals are beginning to happen now, aren't they, with Morgan Gibbs-White going today, so I'm guessing it's going to be a bit of a domino effect, so it's really difficult to be able to have any sort of informed opinion really of what to
it is early,
we just don't know what the squad's going to be like for next season, do we? That's the thing that goes for all of our clubs.
I think there's one or two starting to do a bit of business, like Kudos looks like he's going to Spurs, Gibbs White, I think that's the Champions League place in, and the money finally been released by Spurs, and I think who else has done a good bit of business this week? Liverpool have bought a few, but on the other side of the coin you've got teams that have been absolutely raided as well. You know, Forest have been raided, Bournemouth, Brentford, so clubs that have been really pushing this top six for the last 2 or 3 years now are starting to lose their better players to the teams that are now going to try and push at the top of the league.
Yeah, and what's still really getting to me is this. We were just chatting before we started here about the Club World Cup, and it's not very good.
You can swear on my channel, Daz.
Okay. But the other thing is, it's invite only. So Chelsea invited, they're in the final. If they win it, they get the best part of £100 million, £97 million towards PSR again.
Yeah.
How's that fair?
I just don't know how they got invited, because they've, what have they won? And that's, I suppose, historically it was the Champions League win, I think, that gave them the qualification. But
but it's got absolutely no credibility. But they're still going to get the best. If they, I don't know how much they get for losing. It's probably going to be. I
think they're up to 80 million already.
There you go. So
and they've just got to the final.
See, that's what you're battling against, and it's having to be more and more creative when it comes to transfer dealings. Obviously, they have been quite creative the last couple of weeks, selling the women's team.
Yeah, as we have. We can't really moan, I suppose, because we've done it as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what Villa do over the next few weeks. Still expect there to be probably one big departure, and that might just kick everything into gear. So.
Yeah, I've just been talking to a couple of the chaps, and it's difficult. I went to the end of season awards, and I know Damien Vidagane did get up and make a very good speech, but I think the main crux of that speech was, and he started it with, it's going to be a very tough summer, and I think that straight away feeds into what it's looking like it's happening. Is not a lot of business in at the moment. Now, whether that changes or not, depending on what outgoings come, I don't know, but I think the PSR issue had to be sorted, which it was. We've navigated that with clever accounting, shall we call it?
Well, yeah, creative, but it's just playing the system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last season with obviously Villa, Everton and Newcastle were doing these
they're selling each other's team players,
and this year, and don't forget they've got Philippe Coutinho off the wage bill as well, which will be a big impact. So at the moment, I think everybody's just getting to the point now where you're just checking social media every few moments,
keep refreshing,
clubs monitoring this player and interested in that player. Well, so I'm sure it'll all kick into gear. And in the meantime, we've just got. We did have a full head of air each, didn't we?
We did, that's why we're starting the trivia band. So I think you've hit the nail on the head with the Coutinho one. That was a huge one. And I think the other two that I really want to see go. No disrespect to either of them, good professionals, Dendoncker and Emi Buendia. But I think their wages are just so big and they're not going to be utilised enough. So I think them two have got to be moved on. But then we have seen the younger players that we've signed, Oscan and the young defender from Colombia, Mosquera, and the young kids that have won the FA Youth Cup last year have all been given 2-3 year contracts. So there is a lot of positivity still about the season. And let's not forget, we've got a decent squad. We've built a very good squad over the last 2 or 3 years.
100%. And of course, we might hear what's going to happen to Manchester City. Yeah, that bit's
I doubt it. It'll be another 12 months before we
did have a full head of hair when that got charged for that.
I was about 15 when that got charged, I think. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Daz, for that. And I'm looking forward to this evening and the new season ahead.
Brother from another mother.
Hello, along. So I'm still here at the BBC WM Forum Aston Villa at BOLDMERE St Michael's. I've had a quick chat with Daz, and now I've managed to grab the voice of Villa last season and the one half of the double act, shall we say, with Garry Thompson, Tom Marlow. Great to talk to you, Tom.
Thanks.
So what are you thinking about for next season? How are we thinking the summer's going? It's been a quiet summer so far.
It's been very quiet, hasn't it? I feel like the transfer window really started 1st of July, didn't it?
Yeah.
We were all looking to the 30th of June, and would they lose a big player? You know, and of course it was the women's team that they sold in the end, and all eyes were whether Emi Martinez was going to go, Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers, Boubacar Kamara, and as it is, the squad has stayed together at the moment, which is great. And you know, we're talking now 2nd week of July. No offers really have come in for Villa players.
I think that's a good thing.
I hope it's a good thing. We've talked on the forum in terms of progress, and for Villa to progress, it will be with the squad that they had last season, with hopefully some good additions, and then maybe move on some of the players like Dendoncker, Buendia.
I think the Dendoncker and Buendia ones are massive now. Obviously the wages and this SCR issue we're now going to have going forward, which we've told them we will comply, so that's something they've got to actively bring down. So I do think it's going to be a quieter summer than maybe we thought it would be at the start, and maybe it is just, I mean, would you be happy with just retaining the current squad and saying let's just go again till January?
Well, it's a current squad that's missing Asensio, and it's missing Rashford, and it's missing a backup goalkeeper as well in Robin Olsen, and Disasi's gone. So they do need to bring players in to give you the squad that they had towards the end of last season. But I don't think there's any reason to panic yet.
No.
I think, where are we? We're still sort of a good 30 odd days until the Newcastle game. It's a good maybe 50 days until the transfer window closes, and I think players are so professional now that they will settle in whenever they're brought in. I mean, we saw with Rashford and Asensio in January, they came straight in and set the world alight.
And as we've said tonight, that if you listen to this on Monday, I think it's going out 6 or 7, one of the big talking points was Daniel Marlow, and you know, he did come in January, and because of the other 2 signings, we didn't really see the best of him. So the likes of him hopefully will have a bigger impact this season. And we've seen Aston come in, which we bought I think last year, and he's now integrated into the squad, and I've heard little rumours that they like him a lot, so maybe that could be the Disasi replacement, if you like. But I do think there is holes in the squad, like you say. I mean, where would you like to see us strengthen?
I think it depends who goes and if anybody goes.
This is a big issue, isn't it?
I think people are talking about a backup striker for Ollie Watkins, but then as we were saying in the forum, you've got Daniel Marlow that could play there, Morgan Rogers that could play there as well as a false 9. I think out wide, I mean, if we're going to assume maybe that Leon Bailey will be going, I think a winger is someone I'd like to see Villa bring in.
So just a winger, a goalkeeper, a forward, a right
centre half,
a central defender. So not much business to do, Tommy.
I think when we talked about the progress in the forum just now, and how.
But you are right, and you make a very good point actually, that whilst we have got a very good squad. I was just having a quick look at it. We have lost those players that did supplement the team in January, which then give us that boost through to the end of the season, and we did see a big upturn, didn't we, in the second half of the season. So now we are light of those 4 players. I am not worried. I'm not going to sound worried. I'm not, because I know that the plans are in place and they will do what they need to do. But I think we're at that point where I wish I could have that fast forward button. We could just get to the end of the window.
I mean, we're seeing. I mean, today even we're recording this on the Thursday. We're seeing Spurs and Morgan Gibbs-White. We're seeing Arsenal with Christian Norgard and Chelsea with their list of players that they've brought in.
7,000 players to supplement the other 6,000 they've got.
I can see why Aston Villa fans are starting to get a little bit impatient.
But then conversely, like I spoke to Daz before, you are seeing the decimation of 2 or 3 other squads that have done really well over the last few seasons. Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton. Clubs that have been really progressive in the transfer market. But now we're, I suppose where Villa used to be years ago, we'd have a good season and we'd get 3 or 4 players picked up. But now we're seeing those type of squads now that have got big rebuilding jobs on their hands, haven't they?
They were the teams that were battling with Villa at the time, weren't they? Bournemouth have lost Kirkes, Brighton have lost Pedro, and Nottingham Forest potentially losing Gibbs-White. So at the moment, it feels like Villa are standing still, but the teams that were around them are going down, and have got Brentford, for example, with Thomas Frank going to Spurs.
100%. But he's standing still enough because no, it's not. But I'm thinking you look at Man United are trying to rebuild, and they're coming from a really low level. Spurs, although they've got Champions League pull and they do seem to have released the purse strings a little bit, they've got a lot to catch up with us, haven't they? Even at Villa, as it currently is, they're still going to catch us.
This current squad, I mean, Rashford played very well from January. Asensio, all those goals in February, March, but then went a little bit quieter with those 2 penalties he missed at St Mary's. And I think, at the moment, the current squad, minus those 2 really, I mean, Daz Hale did make an impact in a couple of games, but that squad got Villa to 6th in the table. And we were talking about this sort of before the forum started, that teams like Liverpool didn't really bring anybody in the previous season.
That's from nothing at all, did they?
I'm not suggesting Villa are going to win the league, but I'm suggesting that, Villa now have got a squad that they probably only need to add 2 or 3 quality players to.
So all is not lost. We're still very hopeful.
Keeping the faith.
A lot of time to go. Are you at Warsaw next week?
I hope so. To get the football back again.
Nice to go and see the game. Warsaw is always the kick-off to
the curtain raiser.
The curtain raiser. This is why he's the commentator, you see. He's got all the right words at the right time. So thanks for joining me tonight, Tom, and I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks for coming.
Up the Villa. Okay, here I am now with the legend, my mate, Garry Thompson. We've done Daz, we've done Tom. I've saved the best till last. Super Garry Thompson. Right, Gaz, we're talking about a month or so before the start of the season.
Yeah.
As I've said to the other guys, it's been very quiet, hasn't it? How are you feeling?
A little bit edgy because I suppose as a fan, because everyone else is spending money.
Yeah.
Spurs have bought players, Man United are buying players, and they look like they're buying more players. Everyone seems to be bringing players into the club. Liverpool have had a massive spending spree, and I'm waiting for us to do it.
Yeah.
And when we get to the end of June and look like we had to sell someone, but then we bought the ladies team and that, I thought, fair play, that's worked out all right. Then I thought something with that. I've read, you'll be the same. The amount of notifications you get, Villa linked with someone, and you look at it, and it's 3 days ago or 5 days ago. Ferran Torres the other day we linked with, and this player and that player, but nothing concrete in a minute.
No.
Martinez is going, then he ain't. So you just want something concrete. But when I'm in my sensible mode, all I keep thinking is there's still 5 weeks to go to the season, and I believe with Monchi and Unai and all that, Damien and all that, there's no way since Christmas they've not been looking at targets they want to bring in. So I believe that by the time the season starts, we will have 2 or 3 players in this club who can strengthen what we got.
Yeah, I was sort of sitting there in the event tonight, which was fantastic, and I was sort of varying between, can we just go with what we've got, if that is the case? But then Tom made a really good point that we only really kicked off last season when we brought those loan players in, so like Rashford, Asensio, Disasi. So is it a worry if we don't supplement the squad? I know we've got Marlow that will have a bigger impact.
Yeah.
But is it a worry that we don't fill those spots?
I would just say a worry, but I would think that when I look at Liverpool and everyone's now wise after the event, but apparently when you're Liverpool or you're Man United, you always buy when you're in a strong position. And I look at us, and I'm looking at us now and thinking, right, we've had a decent season, we've done okay, could have done better, but now we need to improve on this. We won the transfer window because the 2 players we brought in, or 3 players, or 4 with Disasi, gave us the impetus we needed, but now we've got to make sure that we're ready to go again. So I believe there will be players to come in. I believe it will happen. It's just a question of, as a fan, you're edgy, you're nervous, you want it to happen as quicker than it does.
But I think also as well, this is the frustration of being a Villa fan, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know Newcastle have seen this. They got Champions League football. They wasn't able to sort of kick on because of financial restrictions. And now we've got an ownership model at Villa and a management structure that is totally in place to kick us on to the next level. And we're doing it with our hands tied behind our back. Yeah. It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it, to be a Villa fan club?
Well, I think you were saying earlier, the strategy is right, what they're trying to do at the minute. Everything is set up nicely, but it's not going, as a fan, it's not going the pace we want, because we see Man United bring Cunha in and all of a sudden they're linked with Breno and all that, and you're thinking like, we've got to buy someone. We haven't. We've got 5 weeks to get people in, and it will happen. It's just a question of we want it to happen. As a fan, you want it to happen yesterday.
100%, and I think one of the guys here made a really good point, this chap over here, and he said, what is it? I think one of the questions tonight was, what is a good season next year? Which is the question everybody asks at the start of every season. What do you see as success? And ultimately, I think he said, and I agreed with, success is improving.
Yeah.
Season on season. And I know people will say, we went backwards a little bit last year. But we was only 2 points away from Champions League qualification again.
Yeah.
Good in a couple of the cups, and decent in the league. Nice football. 1 loss at home all season. So for me, if we can replicate that next year, given all the restrictions we're under, then that's got to be at least staying the same, and then hopefully release the purse strings next year and go again.
Well, someone was saying, I heard on a podcast that from Christmas onwards, I think we were second only to Liverpool in our performances and results we got. So you look at that, and if you look at it 2, 3, 4, 5 year period, most fans will look back and say, "God, we did ever so well there." But because we're in the here and now, and it's happening now, we want it. We've got to do it. We've got to get better and better. Like, we're moving well in the right direction. We're doing ever so well. We just have to be patient sometimes, and sometimes look at the bigger picture. Things are going okay, but as a fan, like we were talking today, we've got to win something.
Yeah.
We'd like to win something. We don't have to. All we've got to do is keep improving. And the way the manager sets up, the players we've got, hopefully the players we bring in, will keep improving. We keep improving. Eventually, we will win things.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you can hear me over all this banging. It's all finished now, so they're just putting everything away. But Daz, as always, it's a pleasure
big
to
fella.
see you again.
Enjoying it.
We'll get him on again in the season. And
I saw the one with Garry, different class, by the way.
Garry's great guy. So,
Top man.
We'll get Gaz on a few more times in the season, because I just like to look. The team's a nice guy. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.